Today's video, we're trying out something a little bit different. I'm playing Star Wars Hunters, a free-to-play 4v4 third-person combat game. You can play it on iOS or Android, or the way I've been playing it, Nintendo Switch. In today's video, I'm going to be covering everything you need to know about Star Wars Hunters, from all the different characters and my favorite choices, explaining the differences in the game modes, because there's a whole bunch of different game modes with even more coming in the future. I also want to talk about the locations these game modes take place in. If you're a Star Wars fan, you're going to recognize a lot of them. They're based on famous locations from the Star Wars galaxy, and just going over why I've been playing the game so much. You probably noticed from my other videos and content, I've been traveling around a whole bunch at the moment, and having a game that I can play on mobile or on the Switch on the go has got me playing a lot of Star Wars Hunters. So I'm going to go through all of it. Let's go. This video is sponsored by Star Wars Hunters. If you want to support me or the channel, make sure you click the link in the description down below to download it again for free, or you can scan the QR code on the screen. So how does the game actually work? It depends on which game mode you queue into. There's 4 currently, and depending on which one you go into, you're going to have a very different experience with different objectives, and you're going to have to change up your strategy if you want to win. So firstly, you have Squad Brawl, which is just an all-out assault. It's the first team to reach 20 eliminations. Then you have Dynamic Control, where teams compete to capture rotating control points. Power Control, squads must control the majority of control points on the battlefield and hold them to gain points. And then Trophy Chase, 2 teams aim to hold the trophy droid. The first squad to reach 100% wins the game. So again, depending on which game mode you pick is massively going to change how you play, and it's that variety that I've really been enjoying. Now, let's talk about the characters. You guys know me. I'm a PvPer. I love playing combat games. I like taking on opponents. I'm all about the gameplay and the mechanics. So there's 3 different categories of characters you can choose in Star Wars Hunters. You have damage, tank, and support. Now, these are the current characters, but there are even more coming in the future. Each character, even within the different categories, has very unique playstyles, and you're going to have to master if you want to use them effectively. And I think to show this, I want to kick off talking about my favorite character so far, Aaron Tall. If you want to play Aaron Tall effectively, you're going to have to know when to jump in and deal massive damage, and when you have to disengage and play a little bit safer. Because his main weapons are the dual blaster pistols, he is a ranged damage dealer, but he does most of his damage with his close range abilities. His abilities are Blast Back, where you can dash around and kind of gain that extra mobility if you want to disengage, but if you actually use it into opponents, you will deal extra damage as well. You have Tall's Breath, which fires a jet of flame to deal massive damage, but again, you have to be quite close to your opponents. Then you have Air Assault, where you can fly through the sky and slam down on your opponents. And then, of course, my favorite, Fury of Clan Tall, where you basically turn yourself into a flying flamethrower. But again, you have to kind of play that perfect balance between range and staying out of damage, because you can be taken down very easily, or getting up close, getting into the battle and dealing maximum damage. And I mean, come on, if you're a fan of Star Wars, who doesn't want to be a Mandalorian just flying around using flamethrowers, dashing down on your opponents and just dealing massive amounts of damage? It just feels really cool. Now, maybe you don't like jumping in and jumping out, dealing massive damage, but also being really easy to take out, and you actually want to be someone who's just a little bit tanky, has a little bit more health. Well, then you have Groz, who is obviously a Wookiee and falls into the tank category. Now, these kind of characters are excellent, especially on control maps where you need to get into a location and actually hold it. If you're going to try and play someone like Aaron Tall and you're jumping in and jumping out, you might lose the control point. His kit is everything you would imagine from a gigantic Wookiee tank. He uses improvised clubs to beat down his opponents. You have to get obviously very close to do so. You don't have any ranged weapons here, but you do have Stampede, which is an ability you can use to charge forward in a straight line, and if you collide with opponents, you will slam them into objects, dealing a whole bunch of damage. Also though, if you're taking a lot of damage, there's a lot of heat, and you need to kind of get a bit of health back, you don't have to run around looking for your health or relying on a support character. You can use your War Cry to gain health on a cooldown, but you can bring it with you wherever you want. You also have Upheaval, which is a slam that creates a shockwave, launching and slowing opponents. This is really good if your enemies are grouped up, especially again on different control points, to open up the fight. Now, his ultimate ability, Boulder Bash, is where you rip up the ground and throw a gigantic boulder that then bounces around and damages enemies and stuns them. This used well is absolutely devastating on control points. But what if you don't want to be in the thick of the combat, you don't want to be on the front line tanking, and you don't want to be jumping in and out, sitting back, doing crazy damage? You just want to help out your teammates and you want to play a bit more of a support role. then you obviously have the different choices of support characters. I've been playing a bunch of Zaina. She is a rebel war hero. She has a really cool kit that you can actually do some damage while you're still supporting your team. You're not left completely defenseless. Her first ability is Back to Bomb, which is essentially a healing grenade that you're going to throw at your teammates to try to heal them up for any damage they've taken in their fights. You also have a dodge roll, which is obviously used to dodge opponents' abilities or damage, but it also has 2 charges, and when you use them, it resets your weapons overheating, so you can put out a surprising amount of damage with your blaster pistol. Her ultimate ability is Rallying Cry, where she gives nearby teammates a temporary boost to their health. This is extremely important and has helped me and my team win so many fights when we are losing to turn the tides of the battle. She also has a passive, which is Combat Medic, so she has increased healing to her teammates who are on lower health. So it really prioritizes and benefits you choosing your teammates who need the healing the most. When you take all these different elements and put them together, the different strategies required for the different game modes, being able to master your character and fit it into your team's playstyle, and try to mastering your opponent's abilities and make sure you're countering them as best you can. Also, the locations these battles take place in. Nothing's cooler than running around as a Wookiee fighting inside an Ewok village or aboard a spaceship. You get these really cool instances that, as me as a Star Wars fan, has me really enjoying this game. Now, if you are playing the game and you're leveling up and you really want to kind of challenge yourself, there is also a ranked playlist that I have found really challenging and really enjoyable. It's a nice change of pace. I've really got to work with my team more, and I have to master my character and make sure I'm actually playing the objectives of the map if I want to win. Don't worry, for you other massive Star Wars fans out there, you also can customize your different hunters. There's a whole bunch of cool cosmetics that you can unlock by playing the game. You have different weapon wraps, you can have different skins you can put on your character. There's also the Arena Pass, which unlocks a whole bunch of cool goodies that you can then work towards as you play the game to try to level up and get your favorite rewards to put on your favorite hunters. I did want to give a bit more information on the ranked mode, as I think they have absolutely nailed it in Star Wars Hunters. I'm mostly a competitive gamer these days. I like to be challenged. I like to feel like I'm working towards something as I improve, and for a game to keep my attention, I need to verse players I feel are of an equal skill to my own. To access the ranked mode, you'll need to hit level 6 to make sure you're across the basics of the different game modes and characters, and it features a 7-week-long season where you can climb through a series of leagues and divisions by participating in competitive matches. You'll progress your way from Bronzium all the way up to Kyber, with each league having 3 divisions. You can also demote based on your performances, so you need to make sure you're on top of your game. This does, however, also ensure you're always versing players of an equal skill to your own. So even if you're not the best player in the world at Star Wars Hunters, as you're trying to improve, I really do recommend trying out the ranked mode, because your opponents will challenge you, but you're not going to verse people absolutely destroying you. There is even a top 100 ranked leaderboard you can be featured on based on total ranked point score, so even the best players have something to work towards. You'll also earn rank rewards for progressing in the ranked mode for a bit of a flex on your teammates and opponents. Again, I just want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Star Wars Hunters for sponsoring today's video. Play Star Wars Hunters and support me by downloading the game using the link in the description down below, or again, scanning the QR code on the screen. Thank you so much. See you guys in the next one.